Hey everybody, it's TMIKA. I am here finally with the tutorial for the Prima Havana Mini Album that I showed you guys on National Scrapbooking Day. I'll put the original video down below in the description box. But to give you an overview, this is what it looks like using that Prima Havana paper. And it's tied with some tulle. You have a cute little pocket and some inserts on the inside. You have lots of places for 4x6 photos. So that's the front. Here is a nice little book with lots of pages in here, as you can tell. And this one has a little Velcro. It flips up, and then you have places for photos here, tucked inside these awesome pockets. And then finally we have this page. It's a like a window, clear acetate window, where you can stick cards in there for pictures and things like that. So, and of course at the end there's another little pocket with some more tags. So I will put the link down there below so you guys can see the full video. I think I'm just going to do the shell of this video. I'm not going to mat it and do all that stuff. I know you guys just want the tutorial on how to make it, and all of my papers on top are 1/4 inch smaller than the papers that I'm going to give you, the dimensions that I'm going to give you. So just know that. I'm not sure at this point if I'm just going to do another one. I don't need another one, but we'll see. But I definitely will get the shell done so you guys can create your own. So let's get to it. You're going to need your basic crafting items: trimmer, scoreboard, bone folder, double-sided tape, wet tape, ATG tape, scissors, maybe a ruler, pattern paper, cardstock, things like that. So just your basic everyday crafting supplies, and then of course your hot glue gun if you're going to do elements for the cover and things like that. So I'm going to start out. I'm going to use black cardstock for this because it helps with the white balance on the camera. When I use white, it's super dark and people complain about it. So but we're going to use black cardstock, but you will hear me say the measurements so that you guys can follow accordingly. So this is chipboard. I forgot to mention that. So you need chipboard for your base. And the mini album is 5x7, so you need 2 pieces of chipboard. I use heavyweight chipboard. I'll put a link down in the description box for the chipboard that I use. I get it off of Amazon, and that's it. I just get them off Amazon. And I use I'm using a piece of chipboard that is 2x7. So we have 2 that are 5x7, and then we have 1 piece that is 2x7. You guys have seen me do this a lot of times, but for the new people, we're gonna start off by creating our base. And I'm going to use some double-sided tape with this 8.5 by 11 110-pound cardstock, and I get it from Michael's. So I'm just going to use my bone folder here, and then I'm going to take my tape off with my little widget. That's what I'm going to call it. And we're going to connect these 2 pieces together. And we're connecting them together because this size mini album, you need it to be a little bit longer in order to wrap the covers. So, and this is, like I said, some very sturdy cardstock. And then we're going to take the chipboard pieces and we're going to add tape to the back. And I'm using ATG tape. You want to make sure you add a nice generous amount because you don't want your chipboard to be cracking while you move your book around. So we're going to cover all the pieces with tape. It seems like a lot of tape, and it is, but you want to make sure that your foundation is right. Like, if the foundation isn't right, it's just worthless to continue, right? Okay, so that's done. You're going to take your spine piece, which is the 2x7, and you're going to line it up with the underside. You know, when you connected the 2 papers together, there's this spine piece here where the back paper of this left side that goes there. You want to center this on the center of that spine piece. So, and make sure you give yourself some room from the top to the bottom. You want to center that right on there. Make sure you get a good good connection. So the center of this, so like the middle line here, is lined up with the middle line underneath on the back side. Hope that makes sense. So you're going to take your next piece and you're going to scoot about 1/8 of an inch over. If you don't feel comfortable eyeballing it, I literally take my ruler, I line it up at the 1 inch mark down here at the bottom, and then I put this chipboard piece at the 1/8 inch mark and set it down. You can always do that, or you can eyeball it. Okay? And then you want to do it again on this side. It's going to be touchy up here because I didn't leave myself enough room, but it'll be fine. Okay, so I am just going to cut off the excess of paper that is on the left and right sides here. You want to have, you know, a good amount, about 1 inch over on all the sides, so you can have some room to fold over onto the chipboard. So I'm just going to cut off the extra, and this is what you should be left with. Okay, I'm going to take my bone folder and kind of guide along the side to kind of prep my paper, since this is such high quality paper, high pound weight. It might be a little bit harder to just fold over without cracking. I just want to guide it with a score tool, and then I am going to just fold it over just like this as well to kind of prep it also. There we go. So that's what you should have, something like that. We're just going to go ahead and miter our corners. Now to do that, that is just trying to find a chalk marker. Here we go. You just want to move over a little bit. You see where these two lines intersect? This line with this line. So we want to move a little bit from the corner edge and like miter just like that. Just right there. So if you want to feel comfortable with the ruler, put your ruler at an angle on the edge of your paper. You're marking your ruler, you're butting your ruler up against with this tip right there. So just like that, and just go a little bit past that and draw a line. So my corner is here. I'm moving it over a little bit like that. And you want to repeat that for all 4 corners. And then once you get done with that, you want to go ahead and cut it off. Just like that. I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Or you can just eyeball it and do it that way. So in the end, your paper should look like that. So now we're going to take our double-sided tape and we're going to tape down our edges. I'm going to use my scissors to get this going here. This is the tight one over here because I wasn't paying attention. I was mostly paying attention to the screen, but I didn't pay attention to how far up I was moving my spine. So when you guys do it, you just want to make sure you center it enough to give yourself some space. You want to just add tape all around the perimeter here. Okay, and then I'm going to take my bone folder and give all of my tape a press and make sure they have a nice connection. Okay, and then I'm going to take my tape off, my tape lining off of all my papers. Let's go ahead and fold. Actually, I'm going to take this off too. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold this over carefully, trying not to crack my paper. And then I'm going to go over it lightly with my bone folder. Get those edges lined up nice and tucked. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Use my bone folder. I'm just going in these edges so they can be nice and sharp. If you find that you cut too far away, just push that inward. If there's a little flap left over, I don't have a flap left over, but just push it inward, you know, so it'll fold. When you fold it over the top, it'll fold right along with that. All right, and we're going to do the side. All right. Okay, I'm going to take my bone folder again over those edges, and then do the same for this one, the little edge that could. Okay, come on, you can do it. All right, and then my bone folder. After you folded that over, you want to take your bone folder again and then lightly crease where your chipboard meets. So crease here and here so that you can prepare your paper to fold. Lightly, we're not doing anything heavy. And then you can slowly fold that up on both sides so that you can have a nice little folder, soft edge, you know, so it's not cracking. So we're going to open that back up, and then we're going to layer the inside with cardstock as well. Now, of course, you can use pattern paper for this on the inside, but I like to use cardstock and then layer my pattern paper on my panels. So this 8.5 by 11 will not fit the full dimension of the cover, so you'll have to cut it in 2 pieces. So I'm going to take one piece and I'm going to cut it down. I'm going to cut it down to 7. You may want to cut a little bit more, or a little bit less, depending on how thick you scored your paper. And I'm going to cut the second piece down to 7 as well. I'm going to take one of the pieces and cut it down to 8 inches, so it'll be 8 by 7. And then I'm going to take the other piece and cut it down to 5 inches. So now we have 2 pieces. One is 8 by 7 and one is 5 by 7. Okay, so this lays like such. This piece can go here, and you want it to have a little bit of overhang past the spine, and then you're going to add tape and connect this piece starting at the right edge over that. So that's how it's going to lay. So you want to add some tape to the backs of this layer. Before you add your paper, you want to make sure that it fits. So go ahead, after you cut it, you want to make sure that that paper fits properly. You don't want to have to rip it up and risk messing up your work that you've already done. So we're going to add a generous amount of tape to both of these pieces. We're going to bring our book back out and lay them down, starting with the left side, and I'm actually going from corner to corner and just making sure that I get everything covered. Put it on there, and I'll take this piece, and I'm starting from the right side, making sure that I'm getting everything covered on this end and adhere that down. I'm going to take my bone folder and just kind of go over this a little bit, not too hard, especially if you're not covering it with any paper on top. You can see obviously the bone marks, but if I was doing this for real, like I was doing it, then I would have pattern paper over that anyway. But for those of you that are not, just be aware of that. Now you want to slightly bend your book to see where your score marks are. Not your score marks, your separation between your chipboard pieces, and take your scoring tool and go over it so you can kind of prep it to fold. Just like so. All right, I'm going to fold that over, and then I'm going to fold this one as well. So now you should have a cover that looks like this. You want to make sure you get your tape on there really good so your book doesn't buckle. All right, let's move on to our spine. So you want to cut down a piece of cardstock down to 7 inches, which is the length of our mini album. All right, you want one piece cut at the 7 inches by 3 1/8, and then you want the second piece cut at 2 3/8. Then you want to take your scoreboard and score them both at 1 inch on both sides. So 1 inch here, flip it, 1 inch there, and do the same thing for this piece. 1 inch here, 1 inch there. Okay, you want to miter the corners just like you did the book, and there's 2 score marks in the middle, 1, 2. You want to miter the same way. Let's grab my marker and my ruler, and then you just want to this is the score mark for the first one, and right at that score mark to the edge of the paper you just want to cut at a small angle. I'll show you in a second. Starting at the tip of that, I'll cut a little bit off just like that, and you want to do the same thing. This one is going in the upwards direction, I guess. So this is going to go from the tip to that way, flip it over, and the tip. You don't want a big angle, just a small snippet so that the pages can fit on here without resistance. So it should look like this. You want to take your scissors and just snip it. Just a little angle. So I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Remember, you're just going up to that score mark, just like so. And then you want to fold over your paper and burnish your score marks that you created with your bone folder, and do the same thing for both pieces. Something like that, 2 pieces like that, and then you want to add some tape to the backs of both. I'm going to use some red line tape for this one because it's the smallest tape that I have available, because this score mark is so little. Okay. Put it right in between those 2 score marks. And then for this one, you want to do the same thing. Right in between those score marks. I'm going to have to remove this tape so that I can lay the next tape down, because it's a tight squeeze. And you don't want to go past the score mark. So you want to take the smaller piece and you want to set it on the inside of the larger piece, and you want to make sure you center that right on there. See, I'm matching up at the top, and then you want to match it up as well as the bottom, nice and even. Give that a good rub. And then you want to take the tape off the back of this, and then we're going to add it to our book. And what you want to do is line this piece up with the center of your spine, just like you did the cardstock. Line it right dead center. I just touch it a little just to make it a little contact, and then I leave the bottom open until I get down there. Here we go. And lay it down. I take my bone folder and I press, flap over all the pieces, and I press. So this is what you should have. 4 flanges. Okay, we're going to set this aside for a second, and we're going to start working on our pages. Alright, so for the first page, the accordion style, we want to cut 3 pieces at 6 3/4 by 5 1/4. So we'll need 3 of those. 6 3/4 by 5 1/4, and you want to do 3. And then you want to cut 1 piece at 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. Now you want to take your scoreboard out, and on the 5 1/4 side, you want to score at a 1/2 inch. You want to do that to all 3 pieces. On the 5 1/4 side, score at 1/2 inch. All right, you want to take all of those pieces, give it a good press, and then you're also going to miter those corners. So I'm going to take my scissors, just on that 1/2 inch piece, you want to clip just a little bit. I'm only clipping like a sliver, like that much, just a sliver. And you want to do that to all 3 of those same pieces. All right, this is what you should have. So you want to start with your loam piece that's 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. I'm going to flip it over to the back, and I'm going to add some tape just on that page flap, just on that 1/2 inch score portion. And I'm going to add my paper to that just up to the score mark. Make sure you line everything up correctly, just like that. That's what you should have. And I'm going to do the same thing for the next piece. This piece, I'm going to flip it and add it to the inside here. Because it's going to go this way. It's better if I flip it under here. Add it to the underside here. So now you have that so far. Make sure these are all stay nice and straight. Okay, and then you're going to take your last piece, and this piece is going to go under, like that. So you're just literally doing a hill valley type here, and match that to the underside, just like so. So now you have your accordion fold, so it pulls out like this, and then you have it, of course, on the other side. So what I need to do is add some tape. So your fold should go like this. Your one piece with no flange should be on the left hand side. So we're going to take that piece and add double-sided tape to the back, just like so. You're going to add it to the edge, or you can add it to the flange, totally up to you. I'm just going to add it to the edge just because I'm here. Take my bone folder, give it a good press, and pull that up. So I'm going to go back to my cover, and I'm going to line, this is the back where we just added the tape, which is where it's on the left hand side, which is where there's no flange on, and I'm going to add it to this piece here. Okay, so this is I'll just do it because I didn't do it on the last one, but I'll show you. Just for some added security, you can add some tape to the top layer, because the tape that I use is only 1/2 inch. So you can add 2 pieces to the flange. It'd be easy to add some tape to cover this whole piece, and then you don't have to add tape to the cardstock. So either way works. So I'm just going to add this piece here. It's better if I do it this way. Make sure you line up everything, center it the best way you can, and lay it down. Just like that. Now that I have tape hanging over there, paper is going to cover all that. You just want to make sure it's secure. And we are done with the first page. Feel free to add like a clip or something to hold that down. I'm going to add a little, well, let's see what we have here. I got a binder clip, so it doesn't interfere with everything else. And remember, I matted my pages a 1/4 inch smaller than all of my base pages. So my base pages again are 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So my paper were cut at 4 1/2 by 6 1/2, which left a nice border to add a photo, which is 4 by 6. So let's get started on the next page. For this next page, you need to cut down 3 pieces of cardstock to 6 3/4 by 9 1/2. So I'm going to cut this down to 9 1/2, and then trim it to 6 3/4. And you need to do that for a total of 3 times. Then I'm just using one of the scrap pieces of paper that I've cut off from some of the other cardstocks. This is cut down to 6 3/4 and then by 2 1/2. Now you want to take your pieces that are 6 3/4 by 9 1/2 and you want to score at 4 3/4 or fold your paper in half. Just like so. Either way. So on the 9 1/2 inch side, you want to score at 4 3/4, and then you want to fold it, which again is folding your paper directly in half. And then for the piece that is 6 3/4 by 2 1/2, you just want to score that at 2 or 1/2 inch, either way. All right, I'm going to give that edge a good press. And I'm going to miter the corner. Okay, for these pieces, all we're doing is taping them together. So I'm going to grab my ATG tape, let's move this out the way, and then we're going to tape the back side all the way around the perimeter. So, and I'm going to take another piece and line it up with the top, or you can line up at the bottom, either way. I'm going to do that because it's easier for you guys to see it. Line the corners with the corners, press it down. Okay, so now you should have some flaps like this, and you want to take your bone folder, give it a press, and then you want to add tape to the back of that, just like so. You want to take your last piece and repeat that process. Tape to the back and lay it down. Give it a press. So you should have a nice little book, just like so. Then you want to take your piece that has the little flange on it, and you want to add tape to the inside flap. And you want to lay the back page right on top of that, just into the score mark. Just like that. Feel free to round your corners if you'd like, just like that. So then you have this nice little book, and I'm going to press over my edges again, just like so. Make sure everything fits properly. So now you want to take a piece of, if you have some of that scratch paper, leave your little morsels out. Now we'll need to make a little closure piece for our book. So using your scraps, cut a piece of paper down to 2 inches. All right, I'm just going to use my trimmer here. I'm going to score it at one end at 1 inch, and then score it again at 1 1/4. Okay. I'm going to fold over those marks and give it a press with my bone folder, just like so. Okay, this is going to hook under here, provide like a little closure piece. See? It's going to be a little bit bigger, but remember you're going to add pictures and photos in here, so that's why you have that extra room. And then you just want to measure how far up you want this to end here. So I'm just going to snip it right about here, and then I just find my little snip and I cut it. I'll tell you guys where I cut it at. So my full piece is 6 by 2. Now I'm just going to add tape to this bottom inch portion. Just like that. And I'm going to take the lining off, and then I'm going to add another piece just until I get to that first score mark. Just like that. Now this is going to go center wherever you want it to go on your book. Okay. And now for this part, you're ending up going to add some Velcro or magnet, either way. So you put your magnet here, your magnet there, cover it up with cardstock. Remember, this is 2 inches, so it's 1 3/4 by whatever length you decided. Just cut it a 1/4 inch around your pattern paper is what I did. And then I added my Velcro dots here and there. And the Velcro dots I just get from the Dollar Tree. So you want to make sure that after you add your pattern paper, you go ahead and add your Velcro dots or your magnet, or either a tie. You can even do a tie if you'd like. So after that's done, we want to go ahead and attach it to our book. So what I'm going to do is add some double-sided tape to the left side of my flange. Take it off. I'm going to fill in the rest with some ATG tape. And I just added this directly onto the flange. Alright, I'm going to add another little binder clip to keep that closed. So that's page 1 with the accordion, and then that's page 2 with the Velcro pocket. Alright, I'm going to stop the video here, so be sure to come back tomorrow for pages 3 and 4. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like the video if you like it so far, guys. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Of course, if you have any questions about anything, leave them below. Alright, guys, I will talk to you soon. Bye.